Hello. So, I decided to do a little Q&A because I haven't really done one of these before properly. I did one a very long time ago, but people will probably not even remember that. And my voice is dropping, so I may as well try and use it for something interesting. Anyway, there's no reason to hang about. We may as well just get right into this. So these are questions from my patrons. Thank you very much to everybody who submitted a question. Okay, so CDC asks, the only question I have is, will Do and Ripple patch things up? Okay, well, I mean, this is in reference to the current state of my comic Ample Time. Do and Ripple are two of the main characters who are like best friends. And like many best friends, they've recently had a falling out. I gotta say, I am surprised by how many people genuinely don't know if things are gonna work out between them. I have definitely had friends say worse things to me, and I've definitely said worse things to friends before. Just gonna say that straight up. I'm not proud of it, and, you know, I straightened things out with all of my close friends who are actually decent people. About all this stuff, I got apologies, and I've given apologies, and, you know, we became stronger for it. Sometimes there's just an underlying problem for a very, very long time between two people. I mean, there are problems basically with every dynamic. There's always something that's going to be a little bit unhealthy about it. Not every set of jigsaw pieces is going to go together perfectly, so yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think they will patch things up? I mean, the simple answer to that is yes. I don't want to spoil anything, but the point of Ample Time is about character growth. It's about exploring anxiety. It's about exploring relationship dynamics. And, you know, Ripple has certain character developments that she really needs to go through. And I don't think they're what people expect. I think people think that she needs to just become more confident and things will get better. But that isn't necessarily how it works. Not in terms of just doing things more and being more confident so she doesn't need Du's support. It's also that, you know, she needs to actually voice her problems. She needs to actually talk about things. She needs to not just tell people what she thinks they want to hear. And I wonder if any of you are looking at yourselves right now, because I know a lot of people pleasers out there, and I am one of them. Yeah. And on Du's side of things, she's got her own character development to go through, especially like Ripple, with regards to communication, communicating her needs, communicating her feelings. So, do you think they'll patch it up? Well, in the real world, there's a chance that this would be the end of a friendship for some people. But I write very difficult, painful things for a reason, because I want to encourage people who read my stuff to go through those difficult and painful things and feel like they can overcome them, and not feel just complete despair because something went wrong, or something didn't go how you expect, or you feel betrayed by somebody because they're showing a side of their character that they were hiding up until now. I want people to feel like they can move forward with this new reality, you know? Where they've discovered a flaw in themselves or somebody else, and they can work things out. I guess that is kind of a form of confidence and bravery. Yeah. Okay, next question. Nakagami Penguin asked, this is a bit of a weird question to ask, but how do you think Amethyst would look with short hair? Okay, why is that a weird question? That's the most normal question I think I got for this entire Q&A. I believe I've drawn Amethyst with short hair at some point, or maybe I drew her with just her hair up in the past. But for this, I felt like drawing it anyway, so I did. So here's me drawing a picture of Amethyst with short hair. If you don't really follow my stuff and this is, for some reason, your first exposure to me, Amethyst is one of the other characters in the comic I just talked about. She is the love interest, she is the goth queen, she is beautiful and amazing and perfect, right? I mean, that's how she's supposed to come across at the beginning anyway. Yeah, Amethyst, how would she look with short hair? Like she always looks, which is dazzling and amazing and beautiful and perfect. And yeah, I'm gonna straight up admit this, I made Amethyst to be my type. Judge me all you want. I just want a big soft cuddly queen like that. Okay, here is another Ample Time related question, sort of, from Myriad Paradox. when Ample Time concludes, do you think you'll pick up another comic to create, or will you change up the pace and take on a new project that may not even be comics? I have no idea. I am such a mess. I'm an absolute mess of a person for many reasons, and I never know what I'm going to do at the next minute. I kind of just get pretty impulsive these days and just start doing things, because in the past I would sit on ideas for a long time and they would just kind of never happen, or I'd just fumble. I'll be honest, I consider Ample Time to be kind of just a very big fumble. I don't really understand why anybody reads it. It's a complete mess. It's just me figuring out how to draw stuff, how to write stuff, how to compose stuff, and making a lot of the same mistakes over and over again. Because I work myself to the bone and I'm always burnt out, so I don't actually stop to really learn anything or study anything. Ample Time was supposed to be a challenge to encourage me to learn some stuff, and it has. Like, I learned how to draw chunkier people, because that was something that... My voice is cracking again. I really struggled with that before. I was not very good at drawing people who were, like, a little bit chunkier or heavier, because I know how bones look, I know how muscles look, but I don't really know how fat sits. It's much less predictable on the body, which is why I made Amethyst a fairly large character-ish. She's really not even that big, and she does wear body shapers under her clothes a lot of the time, just because it's in part of her character. But, I did make her that way to challenge myself to learn how to just draw like a little bit more fat on someone's hips or stomach, and that was fun. But anyway, to answer the actual question, when Ample Time actually concludes, well, that's wishful thinking, isn't it, Myriad Paradox? Ample Time has been going on for, let me just check, 10 years. 10 years Ample Time has been going on for. And we are like about maybe about halfway through what I had planned, but I think I'll probably just increase the pace. It will feel weird, it will feel a bit strange to increase the pace, it won't really work, but Ample Time has been a fumble anyway, so I may as well just get stuff done. I think people want some payoff at this point. And what will I do afterwards? Well, I've got a bunch of other projects that I really want to work on, but there is one specifically that I want to work on now, which will probably actually come out alongside Ample Time. And it's actually a comic about two human characters, which is a risk, because I know a lot of people don't follow me for human characters, but it's just something I really wanted to do, and I actually feel inspired to do it, and the characters in it relate much more to my real-world experience, so, you know, I relate to the characters more, it's easier to write. And that doesn't have a name yet, but it's just about two guys navigating toxic masculinity in individual, unique ways, and becoming close as a result of it. And other than that, there's obviously Ponderland. I would also like to do animations. I'm also working on an art course right now. I definitely will be doing other stuff, for sure. Like, I'm always going to be creating, because I cannot stop. Alright, I managed to find another Ample Time question. This is from Tasta, which is usually short for Tasta Tokatsa. I'm sorry if I pronounced that really bad. I can't even talk right now. I'm pronouncing English wrong at the moment, so you can forgive my German. Anyway. The question is, how much has Ample Time story... Okay, you know what? I'm not the only person who's speaking wrong. How much has, I'm guessing, the Ample Time story deviated from your original version? How has it changed? I will be honest with you, I barely remember what the original story was supposed to be. I know it was supposed to be Ripple going off to college, meeting a cute girl, having anxiety, trying to deal with that, her annoying friend being peppy and maybe a little bit toxically positive. I know that Bran wasn't originally supposed to be in the comic, but he came into it fairly early on, after a couple of years of it coming out. That was when I planned him anyway. And he was originally going to be a much more, like, sinister character than he actually is. But in the end I realised that Ample Time is supposed to be a lot more grounded in reality. I think I had a lot of very cool ideas that were kind of fantastical, but in the end I had to put them down because I realised it's supposed to be fairly grounded in reality. The characters are supposed to be like real people, because for me, I feel like I benefit a lot more from that when I read that kind of thing. I feel like I can take the lessons from media like that into the real world a lot more, and they're just a lot more useful. And that's a lot of my motivation when I make stuff, or when I even consume stuff. It's just character development. I love character development a lot. That's why I like writing characters so much. And so Bran kind of ended up this character that presents initially as somebody who's very sinister and wouldn't really be that representative of a real person, but actually he very much is, and it will become more apparent that he is just kind of just another guy later on in the comic. Almost disappointingly so, but that's kind of the joke. You know, like, you can think of yourself as some kind of badass, cool Raven villain, but actually at the end of the day, you're just a stupid guy who's being a bit of a prick. And I think I enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed that deviated from the original plan. Sometimes deviation is really good. I would recommend that to anyone, actually, if you're writing or making your own stuff. Don't be afraid to consider something a draft. You need to have drafts. If you don't go through like 4 different drafts before you're actually happy with the result, then you probably aren't making it the best it could be. Don't cement it at the beginning. Just let it be a little bit wobbly and fluid. Like people say, you know, just make it exist and then you can make it good later. That's going around a lot. That is very much true. Other than that, I wouldn't say it's deviated that much. I originally wasn't planning to have Doo's family really appear, but then I had this whole background in my head for her. Like, I knew where she came from, I knew her family in my brain, and I just couldn't resist putting them in because I loved them so much. I mean, they're so cool. They're like almost all Sholo dogs, and they all have their own personalities, and you can just see how her life is extremely full and busy, and she's just buzzing like a bee all the time, trying to keep everything together. But she's having so much fun, so surely it's fine, right? Because she's fine. Yeah. Other than that, I can't really think of much that's deviated. The rest of it is pretty much the general concept. I don't think I had much of a plot actually solidified at the beginning anyway. But yeah, and then that's about it for that, I suppose. Okay, this next question isn't really related to Ample Time, but if I put all the questions that are just at me personally in the next video, it will be really long. So I'm gonna answer this one here. Okay, this is another one from Myriad Paradox. What do you wish to do in your art profession specifically for you and you alone? Stories and art aside you've released for the public. What do you want to do for yourself if you find the time to do it? Myriad, I bloody hate you for asking me this question. Don't make me think about myself. Like, we artists hate that. We draw art to express ourselves a lot of the time because we find it really hard to express ourselves in any other way. And actually that kind of directly answers the question. I'd like to express myself. I really wish I could. When I was a little kid, I drew art a lot more genuinely, a lot more just kind of, it was just art, it was genuine art, I just drew what I wanted to draw. It was usually like a big, bulky, spiky dragon playing guitar or something, because, you know, I was expressing like a side of myself that I couldn't otherwise, what with being a trans guy and everything. Yeah, like, I don't know, like playing a Blink-182 song on a guitar when you're a huge spiky dragon. Sounds a bit ridiculous, but it was very genuine. And the more I started doing art for other people, the more I lost track of that, especially when I was actually on social media and stuff. You know, it's not just about pleasing the algorithm. When I draw things genuinely for me these days, I get a lot of hate comments. I drew a character that was just genuinely for me that I really came up with, not all on my own, like, we're all inspired by a lot of other things, but I created this character a long time ago for a D&D game, which he was just like, his basic concept, he's a gooey boy, he's a slime, he's actually a sentient cell, but he doesn't know it, he forms himself into a bit of a stick man, and, you know, he just kind of floats through the universe hearing music in his head, which is, you know, a lore reason that I won't go into because it'd take too long to explain. But he was inspired by, like, Odo from Deep Space Nine, by Jack Skellington, by Miss Muffet from Undertale, and he was a character that I got really attached to and that I felt was a real expression of actually me, and I felt like I could make a whole comic about this character. And then I made the stupid decision to post it online. Oh my god, like, the Reddit hive mind is pure f***ing evil. Like, my asexual, agender, sentient cell is apparently just a copy of a demonic, horny spider porn star that snorts cocaine. That's what everybody told me anyway, and yeah, I just went back into my art hole after that because, ugh, like, f*** off. I had the exact same comments about my persona as well. It took me a long time to create a persona that felt like it really expressed me and was like me in any way. Like, it was really, this is kind of how I feel on the inside, this is what I look like. I actually got comments saying that he also looked like Angel Dust, and I'm getting kind of sick of the whole, like, don't get me wrong, I actually like Angel Dust a lot. I think he's quite an interesting character design, and I don't know, I feel like I haven't really seen a character like him in personality or design elsewhere before. But oh my god, I'm kind of sick of it now. And it almost makes me afraid to draw anything, because constantly what we artists have to deal with whenever we come up with something that we feel is unique and expresses us is comments like, why does it look like this other thing that I've seen elsewhere? And it's to a point where if I see those comments on another artist's work, like, oh, why does this remind me of this other thing? I just want to yell at those people. Just let people express themselves. People can come up with similar ideas completely independently of each other. You know, I did not watch a single episode of Invader Zim growing up. I have never seen it. But, you know, I'm sure me and Vivzy Pop have similar inspirations. I was very inspired by the Fairly Odd Parents, I'm pretty sure. Like, if you look at the way I draw characters, I think there's a real similarity there if you look at it. But people don't see that because they're not inside my brain. They just see stuff that they've seen recently in media everywhere they go. So yeah, the answer is, what I would like to do for myself is to be able to express myself truly without dealing with other people's judgment. But you know, hey, I tried to do that with my own little, like, silly South Park fan comic, which was supposed to just be, like, silly and supposed to be fun. But my goodness, the accusations and comments that I got from this completely safe for work sweet comic where two kids, like, hold hands. My goodness, like, the internet is full of people and their very, very, very dark thoughts, and I wish they would keep them the fuck away from me. So I think, like, what I would like to do for myself maybe is just draw stuff just for me to keep to myself, but I'll never have the time to do that because the fact is I have to make money in order to eat and survive and stuff, so I have to be selling my art. So that's kind of never going to be a thing, actually, to be honest. Maybe I can work towards being more genuine in my art as I go, by attracting people that are actually interested in the stuff that's genuine to me. That's what I hope to do. And I do have some amazing patrons that actually do that, they aren't necessarily even into the stuff that I like, or the comics that I make 100%, not everything, but they hang around and they read it anyway, because, you know, they're just nice, supportive people, so I'm very lucky to have them. I think that's it for the questions this time. I have a whole bunch of other questions to do for another video, so I will do a part 2, and possibly a bloody part 3, because hell, there's a lot of questions here. Ugh, excuse me. Yes, okay, I'm gonna go lie down.